Hello and welcome to all my beautiful, vibrant souls who are joining me for this week's Astrocast reading. This is going to be covering the week ahead, so this will be the week of March 21st, 2022 through March 27th, 2022. Welcome back to all my old friends and welcome here to all my newcomers. I'm just going to do a quick rundown if you're unfamiliar what astrocasting is. As you can see, I have this lovely circular board in front of me. Excuse me, divided up into 12 segments, and these represent the 12 houses of the zodiac and will apply to their natural areas of rulership. I do want to kind of make a quick note that while this is, a general reading, and this is talking about, like I said, the natural rulership of the 12 houses of the zodiac, this will impact you more specifically based on your own personal astrology, as well as just where you are in your life journey. So just keep that in mind as we're going through that. What we do here is we have the beautiful little grid. We have the 12 houses. I have this cute little teeny tiny tarot cards. Look at this little 7 of Wands. Can you see? He's so cute. He's defending everything. It's so cute. But I reach in and I grab cards at random and just cast them on the board and interpret the energies for the different areas of life that we can expect to kind of see movement in or shifts in the week ahead. And you may resonate with one or all of the messages or some of the messages that come through. Just keep that in mind. And once again, this will play out differently for you based on your own personal astrology. I just bumped something under my desk, sorry. So I don't, back up, Sinessa. I don't currently offer this as like a standing, set fixture reading in my shop. But if you are looking for an astrocast for yourself, for, the week, month, a couple months ahead, whatever it may be, please feel free to DM me. I'm happy to do a custom reading. And if I get enough requests or comments on these videos or anything, I will add it as a permanent fixture. So with all that, let us get started with our week ahead. What can we expect to see? The energy feels like it's picking up. I know we're heading into Aries season. So bam. I feel like we're all going to get like a little bit of a surge, but it feels like something that was really difficult for people, for the collective, is kind of just like resolving itself. Or I'm seeing a lot of yellow. I have my eyes closed. I know you can't see that, but I'd like to be surprised by the cards. Do I do one more? No? Okay. What an interesting way that these decided to go. Okay. Yeah, it's that. Ooh, the Empress. Ooh. Okay. And then in the 8th house, we have the 9 of Cups. This is a good week. Okay. And I love that we talked about the yellow, and then there's the yellow cards. Dope. And for those of you who are joining me for the first time, you see how like the 9 of Cups is upright, facing toward the center. This to me is how I would read that upright. And the 2 of Wands is close enough to upright that I read that upright, and the Empress can go either way. So we'll talk about it as we get there. We do have Taurus and Libra energy represented with the Empress in the 5th house. You might have important Taurus or Libra placements, or you might have either of those signs in your 5th house. It's worth considering. Okay, so this is a really nice week. I feel like things are shifting in a really positive direction. There's a lot of magic in the air, I kind of feel. And this feels like this is something that's very personally satisfying for you. I do feel like all the energies this week are pretty interconnected. So I want to start with this 2 of Wands in the 1st house. This is the house of the self, and traditionally this is the house that Aries rules. Aries rules, everything else drools. I don't know why I'm thinking about that. Oh, what a weird day I'm having already. So this is really an interesting card, right? This is about needing to make decisions. This to me is about going through a portal. This can also be a twin flame card. I'm not super picking up on that really heavily this week. But this is like going through a portal and needing to make some decisions, needing to pick your path. We start with the Ace of Wands. That's the inspiration, the excitement, the idea. And then the 2 of Wands is really like, okay, do I want to move forward with this? How do I move forward? The person has the globe. Can you see that? Yeah, the person has that little globe, which represents the A. They have kind of like the world is their oyster, but also too, this is referential to the world card in the tarot. So they've completed a major cycle. They've kind of graduated, if you will, and they're now on to their next challenge. Super small, fine detail, but we have lilies and roses here, and these are the flowers that are all over the Magician card. So this to me is always like, this person has learned a lot. This person's ready to strike out on a new adventure. They have the idea. They're kind of making their plans. They're really like assessing, like, can I do this? Yeah, can I do this? This is like that stage where you've like gotten the inspiration. You stayed up late night research binging on your phone, and you've kind of like been thinking about it. You're like, do I want to do this? Can I do this? With the reference to the magician, you know, questioning your own power, your own capability a little bit, if you can make the magic happen. And so this is a week where I feel like many of us are going to be kind of assessing what we are capable of and what we actually truly want. And this is, I talk about this if you've ever gotten a personal reading with me, which thank you if you have. And this card has ever come out. I talk about the Two of Wands a lot because what I really like about this card is that, you know, if you, I don't know if you can see, hang on, let me see. Yeah, you see how there's a wand that's, it's 555 on the camera timer when I said that. You see how there's a wand here? I don't know if you can see. That's bolted to the wall. And then there's this one in his left hand. So to me, this is where you have a couple of different options. You might have many options, but realistically, there is something where there's a more secure path, either that it's like, it's more well known to you, it's the path you've been on, it's what is more, you know, what you've explored more, maybe more tried and true, because it's bolted to the wall, right? So it can kind of stand on its own 2 feet. It's solid, it's explored, you know, there's more, more established. It's more known to you in some way, shape, or form. But the guy has this wand, which is unsecured, in his left hand, right? And the left side of your body is always about your divine feminine energy. So this to me is this inspiration directly from spirit. And I always like to think that if you were to kind of like press play on this moment in time as he's staring out over the castle wall, if you were to make this guy like pick a wand and go right on the spot, I feel like it stands to reason he'd take the wand in his left hand. So this to me is really talking about in terms of what you want for yourself, right? Looking out over the landscape, planning your next moves, especially with this like personal satisfaction here and like wish fulfillment, this, you know, good sense of self-esteem, this, you know, inner abundance. I feel like you're in this really good place. You're coming into this great alignment energy this week. And it's a very empowered time to make choices about the path ahead for you. And for many, I feel that there's this desire to follow this, you know, either newer path or something that's a little bit less, you know, secure, but it has your passion, right? You're feeling drawn to it intuitively. You already know what you want to do. And this is kind of a card to me of just finding a way to make it work or justifying it to yourself or something like that, right? You're thinking about it, but it's in there. It's part of your soul's path at this point to be exploring this idea in some way, shape, or form, in a very real and serious way. And I do feel that this has many like implications for your sense of self. This could have something for your physical body. So if you've been thinking about this, to me is a card of contemplating travel, especially where he's holding the world, like taking your physical body to different places or trying out a new, you know, maybe like diet or exercise regimen. Obviously, you know, speaking with any physicians you need to beforehand. But, you know, this is like, and also too with the house, sorry, back up, Sinessa. With the house of the self, you know, the first house, this is also where your ascendant is. So I feel whatever this decision is, it's not only your sense of self that's coming into play, as well as your outlook on the world and how people kind of tend to know you. I feel like this is going to be a shift for you. And this feels like a leveling up, both with the Empress present on the board, as well as the reference to the world. It feels like you've really closed out a cycle and now you're kind of like, you've got this new sense of self and you're trying to figure out how to implement this sense of self more in your actions moving forward, how to bring this inner new self out to the world and be more like out loud authentic about this new version of yourself that you've been evolving into, because we do have this 9 of Cups in the 8th house, right? And the 9 of Cups is like personal wish fulfillment, is where you're just like, you're satisfied with the result. It's something that's, you know, as opposed to the 10 of Cups, where it's, you know, total emotional fulfillment shared with the people you love, happy home, happy family, happy relationship. Sorry if you can hear my knuckles cracking, I'm old. And, you know, the 9 of Cups is like, yeah, like, I don't know if you guys can see this little dude. Look at his little face. Can you see it? He's just like smug smiling. Yeah, and that's actually, as I was looking at the camera for that, the timer was at 10:01, which aside from being my favorite time, is also indicative of endings and beginnings. But this guy's like, he's got that smug, satisfied smile where he's like, haha, yeah, I did it. I got what I wanted. So for a lot of you, with this being in your 8th house, I feel like you've been through a huge transformation recently. And this was actually very much in alignment with the energy for last week as well. If you didn't see that Astrocast, we had another 8th house. I think it was the 9 of Pentacles in the 8th house. So, you know, we have another 9. It's worth, you know, possibly checking that out if this is resonating. But many of you have been through this transformative process. And now that we're coming into that spring energy, it's that rebirth. Many of you have been through this really big transformative process. That 8th house energy is really potent. It's not playing around. It can be really challenging sometimes, but it's so necessary, and it's the transformation that we all know we have to go through. And so, and you know, with it being opposite from the 2nd house, a lot of the times our 8th house energies and our transformations that take place there initially threaten our sense of security, but ultimately improve our sense of self-value because we're evolving past our fears, past our ego, and it really creates a lot more space to expand. Excuse me. So with the 9 of Cups being here, I think for many of you, after going through this transformation or, you know, coming out the other side of it, you're focusing a lot more on what you want. I think you know, there's an opportunity that's coming in this week. For many of you, you know, I don't even feel like it's an opportunity that's coming in. This is something that's been in the back of your mind for a while, and I feel like you've always come, again, with like justifying it. You've always come up with a million reasons why not to do the thing you really want to do. And I feel like this is the week where you're like, pardon me, but like, fuck it, okay, let's do it. Yeah, like all of those just evaporate into thin air, right? There's always a million reasons not to do something. But you know, the main reason to pursue it is your happiness, your fulfillment, your satisfaction in life. You know, really valuing yourself enough to give yourself the life you've always wanted as much as you can, right? And I kind of feel like for many of you, you're coming out the other side of this transformation, and it's like there's no barriers anymore to going after what you want, right? You don't see limitations, you only see opportunities. And I feel like this week you're really going to have a super expanded perspective of how to get to your goals, and anything especially with your public image, your public persona, or how people in your life kind of view you on a one-on-one basis that was hindering you or like, you know, hampering you from going after what you wanted. I feel like, again, it's like you don't need to justify it anymore. I feel like that's kind of fading away because we have this Empress here in the 5th house, and this is, I feel like this came out sideways because you're in the process of going from a reversed Empress to an upright Empress, right? Because she has immaculate self-worth. She's really abundant. She attracts anything that she wants. She's all 4 queens of the tarot in one. So in that way, she's divine feminine energy through self-mastery. And she just like, she has really good sense of herself. She doesn't let people tell her who she is. She's very creative. She's very loving. She's got it like popping off. It's awesome. And with this being in your 5th house and being, you know, coming out sideways, I feel like many of you, like I said, are kind of in the process of accepting yourself as your Empress energy, right? Loving yourself, knowing what you want, setting good boundaries, especially with that 9 of Pentacles that was in the 8th house last week. You've really been working on your self-worth because the woman on the 9 of Pentacles is like a mini version of the Empress. So I feel like you've really been doing the transformative work and removing all the barriers, especially the energetic and emotional barriers between you and allowing yourself to attract the life you most deeply desire, right? Because I feel like the universe has been wanting to give you these opportunities, wanting to give you, like I said, with this portal energy, excuse me, wanting to give you your dreams, your desires. The Empress is depicted as pregnant, so it's like it's right there, and now you're about to kind of give birth to what it is that you really want. And I feel like there's just no holding back. So because she's in the 5th house, this for many of you, first of all, the 5th house can deal with things having to do with children. So this could literally be if you're thinking about whether or not to have a child, because she's pregnant, this would be a really positive sign. You might be getting this kind of wish come true of like finding out that you're pregnant, or for some of you, it's like you've been on the fence about whether or not you want to have kids, and like maybe you know, especially if you've had to kind of work on redefining, you know, like how you mother yourself, or if you had a challenging maternal relationship. Many of you may have kind of been like, I don't know if I could do that, you know, I don't know if I'm healed enough. I don't know, like, I don't want to mess my kid up, things like that. I feel like this week you're really seeing how far you've come in your transformation, and everything is open to you, right? There's nothing but possibilities. Again, with the world, you've really wrapped up this huge cycle, and everything feels very expansive and very open. You know, the fifth house also deals a lot with our creativity, our passions, our hobbies, as well as romance. So what I'm seeing here is that if this is, whatever this is for you, that the fifth house is dealing with for you personally, you know, this is something that you love. This is something you're passionate about, right? Especially with that fire as well. This is something you're passionate about. This is something you've been attracting and manifesting. This is something that the desire for this has grown, right? It's like, again, with that womb imagery, you've been creating this for a while. You've been creating this opportunity. And I feel like this personal transformation was just the last thing that you needed in order to have this come into your physical reality. And this is why I feel like you've been doing this personal transformation work, because Spirit's like, hey, we're trying to give you this opportunity, but if you're not open and receptive to it, you know, we can send you all of the you know, chances in the world, but if you don't take any of them, you're gonna, you know, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're gonna keep getting what you get. And so I feel like you've been working really heavily with your spirit guides to work on this personal transformation and evolution. And I feel like this week, whatever this fifth house matter and like eighth house matter is that you've been wanting, this wish come true, this desire, I feel like you're just mostly really, really open to the possibilities. I feel like because the Empress came out sideways, you're really seeing yourself differently. You're seeing your power differently. And it is very much this expansive mindset. So there might not be a lot of action this week, but I feel like the energy is going to be flowing. So things are happening energetically. And I feel many of you can sense this. And it's like this, you know, starting to be like, well, maybe I can do this. Maybe, you know, I should get to, you know, participate in this project. Maybe I can take this hobby and monetize it. Maybe I should switch careers if I can't stand what I'm doing now. You know, maybe I could be a great parent if I want. It's like all the barriers, especially the kind of energetic barriers, have melted away, and it's changing your perception as you prepare to move forward. So this is a week of a lot of possibilities. This is a week we're also just experiencing right now the full moon in Virgo. So there's a lot of release of like self-criticism. There's a lot of release of, you know, anything that negatively impacts the healthy mind, body, spirit connection. There's just this internal and external balancing. I feel like mostly internal balancing that's going to create that external balance, and it's going to create that really good flow and harmony for opportunities that you've been looking for to come toward you. And this is at a very personal satisfaction level. This has everything to do with your self-esteem and with how hard you've been working on your personal transformation. You're seeing yourself in a new light, and as a result, you are getting new opportunities and drawing new experiences toward you, and they're going to be very satiating to you at the soul, at a personal level. Like, it's just going to feel really meaningful for you on your journey. So that's a great week ahead. I love this for everybody. I hope this has been helpful. If you're, like I said, if you're looking for this for yourself, please feel free to DM me. But other than that, I'm wishing you guys a safe, happy, healthy week ahead. Take care, love bugs. Bye.